Welcome back to our 40th episode of the Launch Your Farm Show, where I interview Rachel Adams-Lee with Level Up Coaching. In this episode, Rachel and I talk about why you should be using social media in your farm and how you can set it up for real success. Rachel shares how she built a mega business by allowing her agents to grow their own businesses at the same time. And we talk about what you can do to crush it in your farm by using social media to build an authentic message and brand. And we share a super easy way to use Facebook groups to provide a ton of value to the community and to position you as the ambassador for your farm. And Rachel shares how you can create connection with your audience by using social media and by sharing your own life with your farm and not just by focusing on real estate. Plus, we talk about a ton of other ideas and strategies that you can use to grow your farm. So be sure to check out this episode, like and subscribe, and enjoy the episode with Rachel. Welcome back to another episode of the Launch Your Farm Show. I'm your host, Ryan Smith, and today we've got a great guest. It's Rachel Adams-Lee with Level Up Coaching. So Rachel, take a second, tell us a bit about yourself and why you're here.
Awesome. Well, thank you, Ryan. I appreciate it. I know we've been trying to get this on the books for a long time, so I'm glad we're finally doing it. Life of entrepreneurs, I feel like, is crazy. All right. So my name's Rachel Adams-Lee, and I've been in real estate 9 years. I started my business super old school, door knocking 200 doors a week, doing 3 open houses a week. I did not sell any houses for my first 6 or 7 months, but was able to sell 39 houses the first year, then 109, then 123. So 3 years in, I was the top 1,000 agent in the country, still am today, 9 years later. And my business looks very different. I now run 4 different 6-figure businesses, and all of them are through social media. So a lot of my business has really joined the social media world as well. But the thing that I love about farming and that I love about real estate is those two go so hand in hand. So, we had about 131 referrals come through last year just from social media. And a lot of them came from our database and our farm and our sphere. So it's pretty exciting. I'm also a real estate coach. So that's one of my huge passions. And I'm a new mama. He's 19 months old, but I still feel like I am brand new. So I'm going to just long time. So yeah, that's my story.
And another thing to add, you are my number 1 most watched episode of my last show, The Niche Agent, that I used to watch. So you 20 last I checked was 28,000 views on your show episode. So
back coming in round 2.
So let's dive into your past and your history, because I know it kind of really helped shape to become where you're at and really grow that. So what did it look like for you when you first got started?
Holy crap. I mean, so, okay, when I first started in real estate, I was 26 years old. I had never sold a house before. My grandma was in real estate. My dad was a real estate broker. And I always said I would never, ever go into real estate. So my first year was brutal, to be honest with you. I had no idea how to sell a house. I'd never done a buyer presentation or a listing presentation. And I was in a really unhealthy marriage at that point in my life. So I was paycheck behind a paycheck. So financially struggling, emotionally struggling in my marriage. I was drinking way too much wine. So it was really hard. It was a really tough first year. And at the same time, I knew that if I wanted to be successful, I had to work hard. And the top agents in my office, I was like, I don't have money for advertising. What do I do? And they were like, buckle up and learn how to door knock. And I was like, okay. So I literally would door knock 200 doors every single week. And I would do 3 open houses every week. And in the beginning, it was myself and I had a business partner named Matt. A couple years in, we realized that I was much more passionate about the real estate, traditional real estate, and he was really passionate about investing. So we split ways on good terms. And then I still really wanted a team. So I started to launch a team. And my first year, so that 39 deals to 109 deals, it happened with 1 key hire, which was a showing agent. I have that model today. And I really believe in leveraging talented people to help you build a business. And I wanted to help as many people buy and sell a home as I could, but there was only 1 of me. So that second year, it was me, a transaction coordinator and a showing assistant. And then after that year is when I started to bring on buyer's agents and grow and grow and grow.
Yeah, I think that's the mistake that a lot of agents make and I just recently had this conversation, that they think they can do it all and they should be doing it all. And the reality is, to succeed at a high level, you have to leverage it. You have to get the right people to do it, because you can't be the best at everything.
No, and like it takes a lot because I was like, I have to do everything. Like I have to do everything. I'm the one they're hiring. They want me. And what I realized is while they want me, they want the standard of service that I represent, and I learned that like so say this is like literally my script that I use. So say that like you're going to buy a house, Ryan, and you're my client, right? And you hire me. So my hands look really big at this angle that I'm at. Sorry. It's going to be on video or just audio?
It's video.
Oh, good. You guys are in for it. Okay. So what I realized is, so Ryan, you're my client, right? And we are, and then say Henry is my showing assistant. Okay.
Yep.
So you're sitting down with me at a table and I say, Ryan, the number one most important thing to me is that when you want to see a house, it's available to be seen. The worst thing would be is that you want to see a house and I can't show it to you. So I want to introduce you to Henry. Henry is actually your showing agent. He's been hired to work with you around your schedule. So when you want to see a house, he's absolutely available to show it to you. And so what you're going to do is that custom portal we just set up for you. When you see houses you want to look at, you're going to let Henry know and he's going to take you to see those houses. And as soon as you find the house you want, you're going to come right back to me. And, there's obviously some different pieces of that with splits. They unlock for the inspections and they do other things to help. But what I like about it is I now can build this big business. I have leverage in how I'm building, and it's a win-win for everybody. So the client feels like they get VIP experience. And I personally then can build this massive business and have people who want to support that mission.
Yep. And you're focusing on the highest dollar per hour time, and you're making more out of it because you're doing that, which is huge.
Exactly. So an agent's job, right? We're supposed to be negotiating deals and building rapport and getting more contracts, showing houses, unlocking doors. It's not the highest and best use of my time.
Yeah.
So I show houses. And in fact, I'm mostly a listing agent. So like I still work with buyers here and there, but that's what I have for. I'm still in production. So I'm still the lead listing agent on the team. I've always had coaches that are like, you need to give that up. It's done, but I just really like it. So I don't want to.
That's good. So I want to dive into the how you grew the team side of it too, because I think from a farming perspective, you really had a unique approach, because a lot of agents, when it comes to farming, they try to build it all about themselves or all about just their brand or all about their name. You kind of flip the script and gave the power to your agents. So let's talk about how you did that with your agents and grew your farms.
So the thing is with like real estate teams, and I mean, anyone who has a team, people are going to come, people are going to go. There's an ebb and a flow to how you have a team. I have one person who's been on my team 9 years, one who's been on my team 7. And, it's like, and you have some who've been on there a year, like it is what it is. What I've realized though, is when you have people on your team, they don't want to just be branded. It's not all about me. My team name is the Rachel Adams Lee Group, but that's just a logo. When we do marketing, when we do door knocking, when we do open houses, when we do showings, all the things, they get to brand themselves. So our team slogan is, we live here, we work here, we're here for you, because we live here, we work here, and we're here for you. However, the idea for me is that, they can brand themselves. So every agent on our team, when they come on the team, after they've gone through their onboarding, they basically get what happens is they get a farm. Now their farm is a geographic area where they want to focus on for real estate. The price point has to make sense. Of course, we're not going to like go in a super low price point, right? Ideally, if it's where they live, that's perfect. And the second piece to it is we then only start their farm small. We started with 250 doors. My reason for that is they're going to be knocking this every month. So I want it to be no bigger than their 2 feet can carry them. So then they're going to have their farm, they're going to knock it, and they get to make the name. So like I used to live in Highland Park, so I had the Highland Park Herald. And when we knocked the community, I'd knock with the Highland Park Herald. One of our other agents lives in Briggs Ranch, so he's the Briggs Ranch Gazette. So like every agent has their own style and their own vibe and their own way that they're going to build a business, and it works super well, and it gives them ownership over it, because a lot of times the reason people leave a team is because they want their face on a sign, So make sure that there was that accessibility piece for those other agents.
And I think it's important that you said you start with 250, because the mistake I've seen training a lot of agents and then being in love with farming for so long is that agents go too big. And I always say it's better to scale up than it is to scale back. And a lot of people go out there and they go, there's 5,000 homes. I could do this neighborhood and this neighborhood, or I'm going to do this neighborhood over here and this neighborhood. It's like, start super small, find out what works, figure out the systems that work, and then scale up when it works. Otherwise, you're going to make more mistakes at a bigger scale.
I think the problem is consistency. Like the people just aren't consistent. They get an idea, they get excited about it, and then they stop being consistent, you know?
So what are you doing that's consistent between each agent, and what's different between that each agents are doing there? Or do you have like a same process that each agent
We have
does, or is it kind of different?
like everybody's handing out, but if it's like just sold, the numbers are going to be different because it's just sold in that specific neighborhood versus my neighborhood. However, the like overall message and netting you top dollar and multiple offer situation, that message is going to be the same.
Okay, sounds good. And then from a COVID scenario, because things have changed for the last year, what strategies have you guys been putting into place to make up for, obviously, if you can't go out and door knock or do open
So it's
houses?
challenging right now because with California, we can't do door knocking and we can't do open houses. So we have really leaned into circle prospecting. So taking a form and calling for just solds, just listeds, and also doing online community events and really just trying to shift what we can do. So we had an Easter Bunny Mimosa event that we partnered with the lender, and basically like everybody, it was like drive-by Easter Bunny. So you go up, normally it'd be like a big fun thing. Well, you drive up, you get out of your car, you get to take pictures with your kids with the Easter Bunny, you get back in your car. So it was like where there's a will, there's a way, you know what I mean? So it's really, I think it's powerful because people are learning you can still build a business. You can still do real estate. If you're looking for excuses of why it's not going to work, you're going to find them. But if you're looking to happen, you can make it happen too.
And the one thing I've said with this whole shift with COVID is that there's actually more opportunities now than there ever has been, because the agents who were doing things, who aren't shifting, who are making excuses, are not doing things. And you have an opportunity now to really reinvent things, really invent what works, and really create a new name for yourself if you've never done it.
You know what I mean?
Sorry, you cut out.
It trims the fat.
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
The people who can't handle it, they're gonna get out because it's a hard market right now. Like we are getting, we get referrals. Like I was in a business meeting today for 2 hours, and I got out of the meeting and I had 2 listing referrals, one from a farming postcard that we sent out. Oh, we also do postcards. We stopped doing mailing. Like we literally stopped doing postcards, but now that we can't knock, we're doing postcards again. So we got one from a postcard and then one from a social media referral. Those were the 2 listings. And then both my buyer referrals were through social media. And so it's like, you absolutely can still have a big business if you think it's possible. But if you're like, oh, COVID's ruined everything, it's so hard, then you're right. The only thing that I'm really honest about though is when a buyer comes to me and they're a brand new home buyer and they can't pay over asking right now, I'm really honest with them about the market, because I don't want to waste their time showing them houses if there's absolutely no way they can get it, or B, I don't want to waste my time, So really transparent. And I think that's a missing piece right now. Agents are like, have these rose-colored glasses on. Well, it's a hard market. It really is a hard market, and we're getting people in contract every single week. So it's possible. It's just not as easy as it used to be.
Yeah, exactly. And the people who are serious will find a way, and if they're not, then they'll either find somewhere else to go. The one thing my script that I like to use is when agents or when buyers want to try the market and say, well, let's just try an offer. I would say the problem is you're actually bidding against yourself. I said, because if you bid up that price, the next time you go to buy the next house, that house gets bid up because that previous one just sold because you were trying the market. So I said, I'd rather not see you waste your time and then drive up prices artificially for just putting a shot in the dark. So
I think too, like having a conversation before your client wants to go look at the house, like this is a must. Call the listing. How many offers do you have? Are you over this number? Are you over this number?
Yeah.
Like I have a client right now who I love the client. They're at 950 and we can't get them a house because at 950, they need to be looking at houses that are 850,000 because you're having to waive appraisal, go way over asking. And then they realize that that number is not comfortable for them. And I'm like, I fully get it. I don't want anyone to be house poor. And the thing is, if you're looking at buying in this market, it's a long-term thing for your clients. It's a long-term game. Because if you're going to sell in 5 years from now, this isn't a market to buy in because houses prices are simply going higher and we can't sustain this market. It's not going to last forever. But if it's a long-term game for you, then by all means, like get in, find your dream home and unpack.
Yeah, exactly. So you mentioned social media is a big part of what you do. What does it look like for you in the farm? Because I find a lot of agents struggle with coming up with creative ways and unique ways to use social media from a farming perspective. They'll promote themselves and they'll talk about real estate, but from a more micro content, like what are you guys doing that's working for you?
So, I mean, total transparency. I am much more like my Facebook and Instagram and YouTube channel is much more like open to the community.
Yep.
The agents is much more geared towards like a specific farm. And so what that looks like is you create a Facebook farm. So say we have the Highland Park, right? Highland Park Herald. You create a Facebook page called the Highland Park Herald. We have a door knocking piece that we give to every neighbor. And it's like, hey, obviously you love where you live. Well, so do your neighbors. And I wanted to find a way to connect you all, especially with this crazy market that we're in. So whether you have a lost dog, or you want to do a garage sale, or you just want to have like a night cooking in, this website is here for you. This page is here for you. And then it's your job as the agent to put the content in there, whether you're interviewing the local ice cream store that just opened, or you're doing 25% off at this sporting goods store, or let's talk about the gym that just opened. Like, it's your job to put the content in there. And what's cool is when you do it well and you do it consistently, other people start to run it for you. Your admin shows up, that nosy neighbor who's all about it. They're the ones who's like, let me help you. So-and-so said that. That's not okay for your group, is it? And you built this like camaraderie and community in a Facebook group, and it's super duper powerful.
Yeah, that's something I preach all the time about the power of Facebook groups, and a lot of agents don't understand the power behind it, or don't understand how to use them. And I find a lot of agents will go right to a Facebook page, and they're just pushing their message out there. And I share all the time is a Facebook page is talking at, and a Facebook group is talking with, and it's a conversation. Yeah. It's like if you're in a party, you don't go stand at the party and go stand at the front of the room, yell at everyone, and then walk away. You go to a party and you talk and you mingle. And like you said, the group creates the content. And once it gets going, you don't have to be always creating content, because now the neighbors are sharing stuff, they're asking questions, and people are interacting. So it creates a much more organic conversation, which is really what you want. And it's pulling people out of their houses into their computer, and you can connect.
And the thing right now, people are desperately wanting connection. They're desperately wanting communication and community. So if you're the person that can help them find that, even better. And you're not posting every open house and every, everything. You can make a post every now and again of like, hey, just so you know, I wanted to let you know I'm the admin in this group, and this is what's happening in your local market. But it's never like an advertisement of like, I'm your realtor, you should use me. Like, that's not what that page is for. And I think that's a misconception. A lot of agents make a farming page and think it's an advertisement for them. That's why you get no interaction, no communication, no connection.
And if you do it right, they'll sell you for you. The people will say, oh, you talk to Ryan, he's fantastic. Or Ryan's great. Have you used so-and-so? And they do the selling, and then it becomes a referral and not a lead, because now we're saying you got to use the team. And then they just connect and build trust with you as you go along. Are you using any other social media things outside of Facebook groups?
I have an entire business model for how I built my business. So I use Facebook, Instagram, and YouTube to build. And I have an 80-20 principle, where 80% of what I post about is personal. It's what I'm doing, I'm reading, eating, doing, right, my life. And then 20% is real estate. So I'm really intentional with that. I make sure that I post 5 to 7 times per week. I time block for my response time, because this phone of ours can be our best friend or our worst nightmare. So I make sure I time block for the response time. It works really well. Social media for me is how I do everything now. And I don't see myself ever going back, because it just continues to grow every year. And what I like about, real estate with social media is people work with people they like. So they're going to learn from you. They're going to become friends with you. They're going to build rapport with you. And then, by the way, you happen to be in the business of buying and selling houses. And when you're consistent with your message and the value you offer people, then they're like, yeah, she's somebody I would want to work with. Or, oh my gosh, you've got to work with my friend, Rachel. I haven't worked with her, but she's always posting on social media. Such a good job. And she has all these closings. And it's like, that's the piece that I think, the trust, like, with door knocking, I love it because I could talk to one person, but with social media, I can talk to thousands simply with the click of a mouse, and it makes it so, so powerful. And I just love it.
And it puts you into the space that people are comfortable with as well. Whereas with traditional real estate farming, it's postcards and door knocking, which I would say it's not what farming is, but that's the way it was done. It's we're trying to control the message and send it out. With social media, you're getting into their space, you're getting into their personal social space, and it blurs the lines in a good way if you do it correctly, where you can then connect with them, and vice versa. They can see into your life and get to know you, instead of just being this person in a suit and driving a fancy car and being this.
And people want to know.
Agent.
Like a few years ago, I never would have imagined sharing like my fertility struggles in real life.
Yeah.
At the same time, like I'm going through it. And the funny thing about it is I get more connection from other realtors and other people because of it than I ever imagined, because people want to support you. People like you and they want to know that you're real. And I think a lot of times the issue with realtors is they have the perfect car, the perfect life, the perfect hair, the perfect job, like everything. And that's not real. And that's not relatable. People want to know that you're a real person. And what I like about that too, is then it gives you the okay when you take time off for a vacation or when you have something going on with your kiddo to be like, hey, I've got something going on with my kid right now. And they're like, oh gosh, I know you have a kid because I follow you on social media. How is Henry? You know? And so it's this like window into your life. And the other thing is I get a lot of referrals locally from our community, but I get more referrals from other agents around the country because I'm super open with sharing what's working for me so I can help build their business and build their life and help them level up in like their game, you know? And so it's this thing where people feel like, oh no, I have all these secrets. I got to keep it close to my heart. But I'm like, if you have an abundant mindset versus a scarcity one, then the business will come, the clients will come, and it's really, really fun.
Yeah, that's a perfect segue into my next question as well, is because you do the coaching, obviously you're coaching other agents outside of your area, and you're also coaching your own team, I'd imagine. What does that look like for you from a leadership perspective to be wearing those two hats, and how does that tie into your business?
You know, it started because I had my own team. And when I first started in real estate, I had hit top 1,000 agents in 3 years, and people wanted to know what I was doing. Yeah. So I started to speak in my office and I was like, hey, this is what I'm doing. This is my lead generation. This is my time blocking. This is my scripts. And then other agents were like, hey, what are you doing? And so I would go in like local market centers. And the fun is the way it all started was, so at Keller Williams, we have something called Mega Camp, and they used to have a leadership one and an agent one. And I accidentally booked leadership. So I show up at Keller Williams Mega Camp, a brand new little blue agent, not knowing anything. Is it blue or green?
Green. Yeah.
A blue agent.
Yeah. Wow.
No one knows.
You got to see a doctor maybe.
So I show up, I'm this brand new agent. I've never like done anything. Right. And then what happens is, I'm with all these team leaders, and I now am like, what the heck am I going to do? And it was super cool because the team leaders brought me in and they were like, who are you? Tell us your story. So I don't know any of their sessions, but I'm telling them what I'm doing. And they're like, wait, you're 3 years in and you've had all this success. Would you come teach in my office? And I was like, yeah. So then I'm all of a sudden from a mistake that I made, but I believe in opportunities showing up when you're open to them. I then am starting to get flown all around the country teaching agents. And I realized that that's where my passion place is. So I told my real estate team, hey guys, I'm going to start to coach in other offices, but I want you to know it's going to be a win for us. I might not be in the office, but when I go there, I'm going to have other agents who are going to refer business to us. And when I get those referrals, I'm going to then be able to help give them to you and build your business. So it's just really like having an open communication and conversation with the team of like what the goal is. The goal for everyone is to do more business and build that life by design. And that's why I wanted to start coaching, is I wanted to have that opportunity to give and to share.
And you're very honest and upfront, and then you share your life, and that obviously translates into your personal business. But then that coaching business, you're able to use like tie from here's what I'm doing in this business, and then take from the coaching and then bring it back to your own business, which is a win-win for everybody.
There is nothing that matters more to me than having agents write me and be like, I am successful. This happened to me because of you. Like that means so much to me.
That's awesome. So if you were to give one last piece of advice for people who are thinking about getting started, COVID friendly or not, what would you suggest for agents to get started if they're thinking about doing a farm?
So if they're thinking about doing a farm, I would first say you have to have a goal in mind. Like how much money do you want to make? And then when you find the farm you think you want to focus in, make sure that price point matches your goals. And don't start too big. I mean, 250 is the number that we started with, and you can go to your local title company and they can help you find the likely next sellers. You'll get to know everybody in that neighborhood, and then consistency is key. I actually, for your listeners, they can send an email. So if they send an email to thegoods@racheladamsleegroup.com, So thegoods@racheladamsleegroup.com. They're going to get an email back with like my favorite farming scripts and just a bunch of social media tips and just a tons of like really free, some good goodies for them. And, you know, my intention behind that is to help them build their business, but they will see consistency is everything. Consistency with social media, consistency with time blocking, consistency with your farm, consistency with knocking. Like that's what's going to make people say, yep, Ryan's somebody I'm going to work with because he's not going anywhere.
Yeah. Exactly. Yeah, the consistency is super important, especially with farming, where it's that time over time doing the same thing, and that's where I've had people come to me all the time and say like, oh, you know, I tried farming, I tried it for a month here, I'm like, that's not farming, that's advertising. You're trying to market to yourself, but farming is that consistency in that with your efforts consistently over time in that same area. That's what's going to get the results. So.
Agreed.
That's awesome. So what's one book that you would recommend that has either changed your life or you think would have a huge impact on our listeners?
You know, one of my favorite books, it's small, but one of my favorite books is called The Compound Effect by Darren Hardy. And I love that book because I always knew that small, good, consistent choices would add up. Like, you know, small, good choices, like every day you eat that salad, you eat that salad, you eat that salad, you want to lose weight. Awesome. What I learned from that book is small, bad choices add up too. Know that, or like I knew it, but I wasn't like what that really meant. So like if you say I'm going to lead gen today and then you miss it, then you miss tomorrow, then you miss it, and the next day, all of a sudden you've done nothing to build your business for that week. And that adds up. Those results add up. So it's just like really, it's just kind of crazy how things work. And we've learned that like in this business, consistency matters. Keeping your word matters. As real estate professionals, we get one reputation and I want to keep mine as a good one. So it's like, how can I keep this going? Yeah,
that's a great book. Same thing. I had a huge eye open when I read that, and it's like, yeah, you know, if I do that, but the negative side of it, and you don't think about and then I always say too with that, it's the gap between the two. It's not just if you stay the same, you're staying the same. If you do positive things, and then if you do negative, the gap actually gets even bigger of the difference between the positive and negative. So it definitely makes a difference. So thank you for being on the show. We really appreciate you being on. How can our viewers check out what you're up to, check out your coaching and connect with you?
Yeah. So if you want to hang out with me, find out what I'm doing, you can find me on Instagram, Facebook, and YouTube under Rachel Adams Lee. We have new coaching companies that we're actually launching really soon here. So we're super about it, but we would love to, you know, connect with you, help you build your business and take things to the next level.
Awesome. We'll put that in the show notes and have people check it out. So thank you again for being on. Hopefully this will be the next number one for this show as well. So thank you for being an awesome guest again. And I really appreciate you bringing the energy and the vibe. Thanks.
You bet. Thanks.
Thanks for checking out today's episode. If you'd like more videos like this, be sure to like and subscribe to our YouTube channel. Check out our Facebook page and our other social media channels. Looking forward to bringing you more great content like this, and happy farming.